Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, Kokomo's mayor gives perspective on the city's economic and population growth. An Indianapolis restaurant group talks about its in-house greenhouse. The talent gap battle comes to the health industry. Another youth coding program is underway. The INnovators spotlights a Kombucha company. Culture Matters looks at an award-winning health tech company. And a breakdown of mega-redevelopment projects throughout the state. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. As some traditional auto towns in Indiana deal with job and population losses, the city of Kokomo is bucking those trends. The city is reporting rapid job growth and a slight population increase. Mayor Greg Goodnight joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to talk about the city's resurgence.
Kokomo is a traditional auto town like so many in Indiana. What makes Kokomo, what's the secret sauce here? You have a lot going on, a lot of investment downtown, and things going well.
Well, there is a lot going on, and it's a team effort. I think a lot of it has to do with the strategic investments we've made with public money. Our private businesses, our large employers and such have kind of doubled down and stuck with Kokomo and invested. And then our institutions like Indiana University Kokomo and our local school systems have really put together a quality product for our young people too.
Talk about it, because you and others there have made a very intentional decision to invest and reinvest in quality of place issues, a ballpark downtown, some downtown residential, parks, trails, a number of things, those softer things that we hear from economic developers around the country are so important now. I imagine you've gotten pushback. It hasn't been easy maybe to get those things through.
There always is pushback, and I talked to some of my colleagues throughout the state, and it's kind of the same everywhere. People change. There's a little bit of a growing pain with that, but people eventually, I think, embrace it. And I try to tell people in Kokomo, we're trying to do the best we can for our current residents, but also make strategic investments for our future residents.
You're looking at the riverfront apartment complex, high-end apartment living in downtown Kokomo. I mentioned the ballpark. Also diversity in terms of the types of economic development projects, green cubes, technology. Andy Mark Robotics, which I think is an interesting story. Yeah. Again, diversifying the economy and a company that distributes product in a lot of places.
Yeah, distributes to over 70 countries right out of Kokomo. They are a big supplier for the robotics industry, and they too they've made, this is their second expansion in less than 7 years.
Wow. And as you look at companies like Andy Mark and those companies that depend so much on talent and the ability to get top talent, I know that's a big piece of this strategy.
It is. That's probably the biggest piece. We all know that it's all about talent attraction, and that relates to quality of place. That's exactly what we're trying to do, create the best place for people to live. And I think it's happening, and it's working.
Well, let's talk about that, because one of the things that really stuck out to me, because we hear about the troubles and the challenges in those traditional, older manufacturing towns, the population, slight, but still the population has ticked up here in the last year or so in Kokomo.
That's right. It is. It's been creeping up slowly, defying the predictions that were made by some very credible sources. And it's a little different than some of our peer cities. They across the state of Indiana and really across the Midwest.
What's next? You've had a lot happen here in the last few years. As you look at what it will take to continue momentum in Kokomo.
Sure, we have a few projects in the pipeline. Some may come to fruition, some may not. I explain economic development. It's not always about the slam dunks and the things that make the highlight reel. A lot of it's just the being focused. It's playing good ball, good defense, passing the ball, and being maybe not as exciting, but it's those things we have to do. So we're really continue to focus on working on cleaning up blighted areas, working on our thoroughfares, investing in our city parks, and really making it just a place that everyone could be proud of.
And as we were talking off camera as we wrap up, there's a nightlife nightlife now.
There is,
in Kokomo.
Yeah, there's. A few years ago we passed a riverfront liquor license program, and we've had a lot of local businesses take advantage of that. So it's a destination area, no different than a Mass Ave or a Broad Ripple type of place. So we're very proud of that.
Very good, Kokomo Mayor Greg Goodnight. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on all of the development. I know we'll be following more in the future.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Still to come, beefing up an effort to address critical health worker shortages, and another coding camp continues that popular trend. But first, founded in 2016 with the first crops arriving the following year, CRG Grow is Indianapolis-based Cunningham Restaurant Group's own greenhouse. Workers there grow everything from basil, mint, and thyme to tomatoes and peppers. Cunningham Restaurant Group CEO Mike Cunningham came in studio to talk about the farm-to-table innovation.
When you talk about hot restaurant companies, Cunningham Restaurant Group comes to mind, certainly here in Indiana. 26 stores, 26 restaurants. And as we were just talking, 13 different concepts, right? So the list is very long. I mentioned Vita, and there are so many others, Brew Burger, Livery, and others. Talk about the model of the company.
Well, we're a restaurant company, a restaurant group. We very much enjoy doing creative things and doing new things. So it's a big reason why we have so many different concepts. In our business, oftentimes it's a lot easier just to create something and duplicate it. And we're doing some of that with some of our concepts that we like the formula, specifically Brew and Livery. Potentially Rise soon here because we love that formula as well, which is our breakfast lunch concept. Yep. And we're a regional restaurant group. We cover 3 states right now, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And we're, for now, sticking with that plan. It's easier to manage that situation instead of hopping on airplanes and things like that.
So much talk in the restaurant business about fresh, products, produce is fresh, the farm to table concept, if you will. I mentioned the grow wall at Vita that you started. You've expanded that idea greatly into the CRG Grow, which is a whole greenhouse, right? That
is correct, yeah. We had an opportunity to purchase a failed garden center on South Meridian, just south of the city. It's a great location for us because it's in the core of the city, and we wanted to start growing some of our own products, our fresh herbs and our microgreens and some tomatoes and different things that our chefs would like to see grown locally here. So,
what has that meant, and how has it worked? Because you're supplying basically all of your restaurants, right? All 26 with product from this greenhouse.
We are, and some restaurants are getting more items than others, but it supplements. We're supplementing with other products, obviously, because we can't grow enough there to satisfy all of our needs, but. We are working towards expanding that every day and finding out what our chefs want to have grown for their menus. And Colton Akers, our general manager of the grow house, works with them closely and determines what they want to see.
Growing your own produce, products. Good thing to do, but how about what does it mean for the business and for the brand? Is this kind of part of the brand as well?
Well, we think it's innovative. I don't know of another restaurant company in the country that are growing their own products in a greenhouse in their marketplace. So, we always want to provide the best possible products for our guests, and the freshness level of growing here in Indianapolis will never be achieved by not doing that locally. So that's a big part of it, and there's just all kind of advantages economically, but also environmentally. Yep. We are not trucking products from across the country, so we're doing the best that we can to.
Only have about 10 seconds, 15 seconds left, but your take on the restaurant climate, the vibe, if you will, in Indiana, certainly here in Indianapolis and in Indiana.
Well, I think it's come a long way in the last 20 years when we got started, and I think that people are definitely turning to independent style restaurants versus chain style restaurants, and people want to see new ideas and fresh ideas.
Well, and this certainly innovation in the restaurant business in a big way. Mike Cunningham, the founder and the CEO of Cunningham Restaurant Group. Mike, thanks very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Later in the podcast, a coding camp comes to another community, and a Kombucha company takes the INnovators with Dr. K spotlight. But now, Ascend Indiana has received nearly $2.5 million in funding to beef up its efforts to develop custom talent pipelines for companies. It's also working with Community Health Network and others to help address behavioral health specialist and nurse shortages. Ascend Indiana CEO Jason Kloth and Beth Sims with Community Health join Barb Lewis in the business of health.
So it's been a busy 1.5 years for you, Jason. So tell us a little bit about how you're going to use this funding.
Well, first, I just want to thank the Lilly Endowment, Nina Mason, Pulliam Charitable Trust, and our corporate sponsors for all of the support of Ascend and helping us get up off the ground. But the reason that we exist is the gap between open jobs and available talent in Indiana continues to widen. And that gap comes at a profound cost to individuals, families, our community more broadly. And so we really aim to close that gap. So the vision for Ascend is for every employer to have access to the talent they need to thrive and to grow their businesses, and for every person to be able to pursue a meaningful, self-sustaining career. And we do that in 3 ways. The first is called the Ascend Network. We will work alongside employers to understand their early in career talent needs, and then identify and connect talent to those internship and job opportunities. Secondly, when there's not enough supply to meet the demand amongst employers, we will actually work as an intermediary between higher ed and employers to build causally new talent pipelines directly into the business. And then finally, we take everything that we learn to inform research and public policy. So for instance, we worked alongside Mayor Hogsett and his team in the development of India Achieves, which will have a profound impact on Marion County students and increasing opportunities for them to go to Ivy Tech and IUPUI tuition free.
And so, Beth, you were the first to use this custom talent pipeline, as it's called. So let's talk a little bit about the Nursing Academy and what you're doing with opioids.
Yeah, sure. So the Nursing Academy is a very unique, innovative way of educating, training, and preparing nurses for the workforce. And the Community Health Network partnered with Ascend and the University of Indianapolis to really launch this academy model. And Ascend was phenomenal in helping both our partners here to formulate a strategic plan, and that strategic plan is what has made us so successful today in doubling our enrollment and seeing our graduates enter our workforce extremely prepared for the professional practice of nursing and being retained within the organization. And it's a win-win-win for everyone. The students receive scholarship support to offset tuition expenses. The university has a new pipeline of enrollment for interested nursing students, and community has a solid, stable pipeline for our workforce in nursing. And with that success, it is spreading to the behavioral health side, and gosh, it's going to be so beneficial to those who currently are facing addiction issues. The pipeline for licensed social work employees will support more than 3,000 new patients who need treatment for opioid addictions.
And then, so Jason, quickly back to you for one last question here about this network, this brand new network. You touched on it in your first answer. Can you tell us a little bit more about it since it is so new?
Yeah, sure. So the Ascend Network is really aims to be the place where early in career talent go to find jobs and where employers go to find early in career talent. And so to do that, we profile companies, teams, and jobs. And then we break those jobs down into discrete pieces of information: character traits, technical skill, work style. So we have 77 employers in the pilot year of this effort. So we're incredibly excited about that. Then we work alongside higher education institutions. We pre-qualify candidates. We have more than 12,000 in our system to date. We've met with a few thousand, invite them in to create profiles. And then we use an algorithm to match those candidates to those job opportunities in a strategic way. And so we're excited that in the first 8 months, we've placed nearly 397 individuals to opportunities in the hopes of scaling that to thousands in the coming years.
All right, well, that's all we have time for. We have a lot more questions, but no time to ask them. So thank you both, and best wishes for more success.
Thank you so much for having us.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Still to come, a Kombucha fan gets into the business, and Culture Matters features a health tech company. But first, A series of weekly Connecting with Code computer camps is being offered at Rose-Hulman in Terre Haute. The idea is to get elementary and middle school students interested in software development and computer programming. Co-director David Fisher discussed the effort in our Ion Education segment.
Second year for Connecting with Code. Talk about this camp and really what it's all about.
Cool. So the camp is a summer camp. So there's actually 6 different camps this year. So we run it over 3 weeks. There's one in the morning, one in the afternoon. It's for younger kids in general. So our morning group is 1st through 5th graders, and then our afternoon group is 6th through 8. Last year we had about 48 people. That's kind of where we started. And then this year we've expanded. It's been really popular. We're at around 150 this year.
And one of the interesting aspects too, at least in a portion of the camp, the registrations, the females actually outnumber the males, right?
So it's one of our big pushes for the camp is to try to get more women interested in coding, right? So like in the U.S. we're at about 17% female, which is crazy, right? And we're trying to figure out why we're losing females, why we're losing our underrepresented. And we think it kind of comes down to opportunities and experiences they get at an early age. So we're trying to get more women to join. And it's interesting that like our 1st through 5th grade camp, this year we're at 65% female, which is crazy, which is great.
Yeah.
Like that's way above the 17% average we see in the country. But our middle school camp, it's about 15%.
Kind of maybe start to lose the girls there. Okay, you talk about these camps, 1st through 5th and 6th through 8, so the elementary and the middle schools. Access to Rose-Hulman faculty. You want to make it interesting, though, especially for kids that age. Really a lot of hands-on experiences.
Yeah. So that's actually one of the reasons I brought some toys with me today. So in the camp, we have 6 different topics because different people like different things. The things that I brought with me today, it's a microcontroller called Microbit. And what the kids do is they program little microcontroller boards like this. And then they can make these boards do different things with the lights. You can also plug them into different accessories. So this one is going to control this robot. And so if I start driving this guy around, you can see that he's driving around with this guy. If I can make him not go off the table, that's preferred.
Very good.
But we teach them how to code, and we want it to be fun. So we want to really get them to do something that they find exciting.
A lot of talk about coding and coding academies and Hour of Code, all those things. And a part of your camp, I assume, is the importance of getting young people, getting coding skills and that kind of thing at a young age.
Yeah. So. Coding skills are important, but the way that we like to say it is we say coding mindset is the most important thing. So the big thing we've got to do with these kids is we've got to make them realize you can do it, right? So you're going to see coding opportunities in your life. They're going to come up. You can do it, right? And also it's kind of fun, right? And if we can establish that mindset in them, they're just going to grow, right?
A lot of effort around this, as we talked about, and you and I were talking off camera. How does Indiana, in your view, stack up when it comes to computer science and those types of disciplines?
So it's actually really fun. So there's a website called code.org that kind of like summarizes how different states are doing things like that. And they always like, try to tout the states that are doing well, right? So if you look at our state standards, we have a computer science state standards in here. I brought a copy.
Yes.
And they say it's like, hey, these states have these standards, and like the list the 5 states that have them, and Indiana's always in there, right? And so it's fun to see that like it's a big push in Indiana. And I think from the governor on down, right? And it's just a brilliant move because there are just so many jobs that are coming in programming.
Okay, Connecting with Code, the name of the camp. Now, can young people still register?
This is our last week.
Last week, okay.
So tomorrow is the last day. So it's too late for this year, but we're definitely coming back next year. We got a grant for like $25,000, so we're going to be bigger and better for next year.
Very good. Connecting with Code is the name of the camp. This is just its 2nd year and growing in a big way. David Fisher is co-director of the camp. One more example of Rose-Hulman really engaging in community. And David, thanks for being here.
That was very fun.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Later in the podcast, Spring Buck takes the spotlight in our latest Culture Matters segment and a look at mega-redevelopment projects throughout the state. But now, Presto Kombucha founder Nick Murdick was introduced to the drink during a 2008 symposium in Denver. Soon after, he began brewing his own and researching how to turn it from a hobby into a successful business. Murdick made his pitch during the INnovators with Dr. K.
So I'd like to tell the audience a little bit, first of all, what is kombucha? What is that in general?
Kombucha is a lightly fermented tea that has been fermented by humans for thousands of years, and it arguably originated in China, Russia, or even Japan, and it's a folk beverage.
Very good, very good. Well, where did you come up with the idea to capture this now?
I enjoyed my first kombucha in 2008 at an International Horn Society symposium in Denver, and then immediately I started researching recipes and methods of production, and then I went back to my home in Montana, and soon enough I found myself bartering garden vegetables for kombucha, and then I developed a class that I taught at a raw restaurant in Seattle and at Montana State University's Missouri River Break.
Oh, fantastic. What's the specific innovation you're bringing to Presto Kombucha? What's the innovation here?
We have quality taste. Right. We have quality ingredients. Everything's organic. We roast our own coffee, and we're the only kombucha company that I know of in the world that screen prints our own bottles in-house.
So taste and artistry coming right in.
Yes.
Together. Fantastic. Who's the potential market for this?
We feel that the market is massive. Right now, we're in a variety of venues, including grocery stores. We're in a wellness studio in Newburgh. We're in downtown co-ops in Bloomington and South Bend. We're in yoga studios. We're in Kroger.
So you're really into Indiana here. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Immersing.
Definitely.
Very good. Who are the potential capital funding sources for you?
Presto Kombucha is really interested right now in connecting with investors and like-minded individuals that have a passion for the highest quality kombucha in the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fantastic. What do you see as the growth potential for this? I know you're already in these places in Indiana. What's the growth potential for you, Nick?
I feel the growth potential for Presto Kombucha is limitless, and I see in the near future scaling up as effectively as possible, and going to the international level is my goal and dream.
With the right investors, right?
Yes, with the right investors and with the right strategic partnerships, and continuing to provide high quality and consistency.
Mm-hmm. What are in the year ahead, for the audience to understand, as you're trying to scale this and grow this, what are your next steps in the year ahead?
I'm actively seeking investors. I'm actively seeking strategic partnerships with seasoned professionals, individuals that have skills in the beverage industry. I'm actively scaling as rapidly as I can, reinvesting all of the earnings as possible back into the company to take it to that next level.
Like the true entrepreneur,
I'm working my best at it, yes.
That's fantastic. What, something I wanted to ask you also is, where do you operate out of now from the manufacturing of this?
Currently, we're maxed out at our space in Carmel's Kitchen.
Are you?
And we started at Indy's Kitchen, which is another incubator space. And so we're looking for a bigger space. We've run out of cooler space, essentially. We don't have enough space to store our product to have it prepared on time for clients.
So again, the importance of the investors to take it to that next level and stuff, That's fantastic. Well, as we do on each and every of Innovators with Dr. K, I try to provide some prescriptions, some things that we think can help you, going forward. And so for you, I came up with the 3 C's of taking a new innovation like you've got here and moving that to an expanding venture like you're hoping to do. So the 3 C's, the first one I came up with was, I used the word credibility. But what I meant really by that is, it's not that you're not credible now, but the fact that if you get a further manufacturing facility that you can really grow and expand like you're talking about, then you really can establish an expansion strategy. So that's the credibility of that scaling is what I'm getting at. The second C is customers. The idea to demonstrate by establishing more locations. You're around the state now in Bloomington, South Bend, Indianapolis, which is fabulous. But as you get a larger facility, you'll be able to go to even more locations, which I know is your goal. And that's just going to really help with you. And the third one we were kind of chatting about is the idea of capital. And I said you're to focus on the viable sources of capital that can move you to the next level. That may be the proper investors, as we mentioned, or as you even mentioned, strategic partners that can take you to that proper manufacturing level and help you scale. So I hope those 3 C's can help you moving forward, Nick.
Definitely. I really appreciate your help.
That's great. And where can the audience find you, Nick? Tell our audience.
You can check us out at prestokombucha.com. You can find us at Green Bean Delivery online locally in Indianapolis. You can also check out Market Wagon and several locations throughout the state and as far as Chicago and Pittsburgh.
Fantastic. Well, there you have it, Gary. Here we've got a talented musician, now turned entrepreneur, bringing us something very special here in the state of Indiana and getting ready to scale.
Still to come, we spotlight some of the state's biggest redevelopment projects. But first, Springbuk bills itself as one of the nation's leading employer-facing health analytics software platforms. The company has grown from 5 to 60 employees with a focus on professional development, employee empowerment, and a positive work environment. Springbuk is the subject of this month's Culture Matters segment with first-person managing director Mark Minner.
I talked about that growth, and I think Springbuk is a great example of Indiana technology success. Young company started, handful of employees. I said they're up to 60. Actually, they're over 80, some 85 employees now. They've really kind of taken over the Union 525, which is a great entrepreneurial space in downtown Indianapolis.
Terrific space. They've continued to expand and take more of that first floor. Over 80 employees now, 120 by the end of the year, a $20 million Series B fundraising they had. It's just been fun to watch, and they're solving their product, their software is really helping solve a need for employers, but also the way they're growing their business is what's really cool to watch.
Yeah, and as you look, so product obviously is ultimately the key, but as you look at the culture there, you look at the space. Lots we could talk about on the space, but one of them is they call it the boardroom, right? But spelled B-O-R-E-D, boardroom.
A little different take there on the spelling, Gary, but yeah, an area to relax, play some games in the workspace. You can see how relaxed, how open concept the actual space is, and when you walk around, you get a feel for the ethos of the company. And I think it matches with some of the benefits they offer too. Unlimited PTO, they've got a remote workforce, they're finding ways to create that family atmosphere and to really encourage people to be who they are every day they walk into work.
And really, when you look at culture, and so many companies talk about culture, but at Springbuk, it seems as though they really integrate and infuse culture from the earliest stages of recruitment.
No doubt. Ron, Phil, I mean, the crew from the early days, it's very hard to build a company that scales as quickly as Springbuk has, and to find a way to maintain that culture through the process. Part of that is you've got to have great leadership. You've got to have people who have humility, who buy into the overall vision and purpose of the organization. But also then as you're growing, how are you bringing people on? And one of the ways they do that is through cultural interviewing on these culture calls for potential Springbuk employees. And that means not just asking them about what their talent and skill ability is, but also what are you going to do to move the culture forward? What are you going to do to raise the bar for Springbuk? And that's something that they want and challenge all of their employees to be able to do.
Yeah, well, employees to advance through the organization. Also, you touched on this, but volunteer opportunities and the opportunity to really engage in the community.
Yeah, I mean, that's another big piece, too. There was an anecdote that was shared, too, about an employee who really wanted to go out and volunteer for an event, but had a conflicting meeting. So multiple employees stepped up and said, no, we'll take the meeting. You go volunteer, you go do what you need to do, and we'll keep moving it forward. And it's not just the leadership saying this person needs to do that. It's really everybody buying into that. And it's cool to watch a company that grows as fast but still is grounded and rooted in the community.
Yeah, clearly culture in this company is helping to fuel the bottom line side of things.
It is, and you watch just the organization grow. You see that people in the organization are excelling. It's fun. On everybody's business card, they've got the employee number, whatever, as they've been able to grow. A lot of pride in what they've become.
All right, Mark Minner, first person. Great stuff as always. Culture Matters, Springbuk. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
Talk
Gary.
to you soon.
And finally this week, some major redevelopment efforts are underway in Indiana. From 60 acres of urban real estate for bioscience and engineering companies to transforming 70 acres of the old Indianapolis International Airport terminal into a tech hub. KSM Location Advisor CEO Tim Cook and President Katie Culp took a look at the projects in our monthly Eye on Economic Development segment.
These projects, each on their own, are huge, and all three now are ongoing at the same time. Let's just tick them off one at a time. 16 Tech, near the old Busch Stadium on 16th Street, near downtown Indianapolis, near West Side. 60 acres, a real focus on the biosciences and advanced industries. This is an example. This has spanned 3 mayoral administrations. An example of these big redevelopment projects don't happen overnight.
Yeah, and I think it's a credit to the mayor who really took some leadership. This 16 Tech concept has been going on for some time now, and he and his team made a decision early on in their administration that they wanted to have a focus on it.
Tim, you talk about the involvement of an administration of the political piece, the public sector. These are partnerships, typically public sector, private sector, in some cases academic community as well. So these don't come together typically without some collaborations.
Yeah, in this case, you have Lilly Endowment, who's going to put $38 million in to construct an iconic bridge. You've got the city that's made a huge investment with their TIF district. So it has hit every sector of how you can do a partnership.
And don't you think that's part of why it has transcended multiple administrations and political parties, because there is that big impetus coming from the private sector, and you've got to, it's a critical component, but also is the partnership with the city.
Yeah, the complexity, the funding, all of that really comes into play.
And I think there's a theme, at least through two of these projects. These are talent plays, really a focus on attracting talent and keeping talent here in central Indiana.
I think it's so smart because, I mean, yeah, we compete with other metro areas and other states, but even internally, while we do have a great regional effort, you know, Indianapolis still wants to win the life science projects or the tech projects, and to be so intentional and to identify a space that is a good landing spot for those so they don't flee to the suburbs, I think is really smart and unusual in a good way when you look at other metro areas.
When it comes to the biosciences, the advanced industries, you know, the need to bring in or to keep and bring in researchers and scientists and those high-level people, having an asset like this, I assume from a competitive standpoint, is important.
Yeah, you're trying to attract people to that space and having it be an anchor and having not just the amenities, but some of the really cutting-edge technologies and concepts they have. I think all of that feeds into it.
Yeah, and a connection to IUPUI and the IU Med Center.
Absolutely.
As well. All right, let's go to project number 2. It gets a lot of attention, high-profile space right along the White River in downtown Indianapolis, the old GM stamping plant property. A lot of talk about that with all the Amazon HQ2 buzz going on, but Ambrose Properties awarded the project $550 million, probably much more than that, multi-phase development. Katie, I'll start with you on that. Why is that? Can that be a transformative project?
I think it absolutely will be a transformative project. And jumping ahead a little bit, I know we might talk about the airport later, but I think a similar approach in being not being too rushed and being intentional as the right development happens there is a lesson that we've seen with other parts of redevelopment areas, and I think that'll hold true here at the GM stamping plant. I think that you know it's going to take some time. It's going to take, I think, 15 years is what they project for a full ramp up, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah, and it's you know, it took 7 years to get to this point, so I think patience is something that you're seeing in a lot of these cases, and it's really starting to pay off.
And as you look at the uniqueness, if you will, of this property, about 100 acres downtown, so there aren't many cities that can offer that, you know, available land. It's also along the waterfront, which is new to Indianapolis, having development right along the waterfront.
Yeah, you have that actually with both of these projects, and I think it's been a feature that the city really wants to feature. I think obviously Ambrose is going to have that be a big part of the development as well.
Another big project, mega project, if you will, the old airport property, which is sat vacant and idle for a long time, for a number of years. A lot of people wondering what's ever going to happen there. A lot of skeptics saying, well, nothing's ever going to happen there. You know, it's just a couple of projects have come and gone and not happened. But now Infosys has designs on putting their USA Training Center there with plans to employ hundreds, several thousand people. Republic is putting a training facility, big plans there nearby. So that property stands to change in a big way.
Yeah, it's going to be a big change. And again, to go back to this patience theme, this was a site that there were a lot of ideas, companies that were interested in it. The airport authority, the city really kind of took their time. They waited for the right deal. And obviously when you have Infosys, which is 3,000 jobs, a tech company, all the investment, it was a great decision to really bide your time.
That property with Infosys, Republic, and additional development stands to really transform that whole west side.
I mean, it really, transformative is something that is a buzzword in economic development, but I think it's true with all three of these. And, you know, the other thing that both the City County Council and the Mayor Hogsett's office are real interested in is the local option income tax and how many Marion County residents go to these places. And I think that having a landing place for their place of employment will really help with that effort, which will help city economics as well.
And it was good you said landing place right when we're talking about Republic Airways. So Perfect. Very nice synergy. As we wrap up, talk about next challenges. What's next? A lot of people talking about Lafayette Square, the Lafayette Square area, a once thriving area many years ago, has really fallen on hard times. There's an international focus and component, which is kind of exciting over there, but a lot of people wondering what's next for Lafayette Square.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. If it was an easy answer, it would have been solved by now, but I think this international play is an interesting one. It's obviously an area that needs some money, it needs some investment, but it's, I think, the next big challenge for Indianapolis.
I think to be really successful, just like these other ones, there needs to be an important role for the private sector. In addition, the city government or state government can't do it all. So I think finding that right partner will be the key to its success.
Very good. As always, some great perspective. Tim Cook and Katie Culp from KSM Location Advisors. Be fun to follow these big projects over the next several years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Gary.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.